Console, online. HPG connection, online. Educational module, online. All systems, nominal.
Hello, class, and welcome to On the Origin of Battlemechs Podcast, episode 82. Today we are talking about the Marauder, Part A. I am your host, Brent Stewart. My co-hosts today are...
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Chandler.
And for our very special guest host today, we have...
Aaron the Coach Krull from WNRP Radio Podcast.
And a very active and engaged Discord community. So, that is also a feather you can put in your cap.
I got a lot of them these days.
So if you want to take a second, just give anybody who may not be familiar with you a quick TLDR about what you do for the Battletech community.
Oh boy. I am one of 5 members of WNRP Radio Podcast. We're a podcast that records mostly once a month. And we usually have guests on from all across the community, whether it be from Catalyst or Hardware Studios or within the community itself, authors, editors, all kinds of stuff. We also deep dive into both Classic and Alpha Strike and fiction. And it's basically just a all-around smorgasbord of Battletech. We don't dabble in anything else. It's basically just Battletech. I've been playing Battletech for a long time, probably 28 years.
And let's not mince words. You guys don't just dabble in Alpha Strike. You've created an entire tournament format for it.
Yeah, that has been a labor of love mostly for about 3 years. We basically had the thought, and I just want to make sure that I'm using we. Shout out to Andrew.
The royal
We, as WNRP Radio Podcast, have created a tournament format based off of Alpha Strike rules that uses a combination of 5 scenarios, a strict construction rule set, and what most would consider kind of like a sideboarding when you're when you're bringing your units onto the table. So we were looking for a little bit of adding. It's kind of a 2-prong effect. One, it was to try to create a fast-paced, easy-to-play tournament structure for Battletech, where it utilizes Alpha Strike, has a clear-cut, winning strategy, or not strategy, but a winning
conditions.
Which
is not just I've killed everything else on the field.
Yeah. We really wanted to get away from, okay, you bring your stuff, I'll bring stuff, and we don't stop until we're all dead. Battletech has so much more to offer than just the stand-up fight. So we have capture the flag, domination, which is you have to control so many points on the board. We have rampage, which is you have to destroy your enemy's bunkers within a certain time limit. And stand-up fight, obviously. And I'm missing one.
Well, how about we give you a little bit of time to think
flag.
about that, and we can circle back to all the neat little details during our data dive.
Yeah. Anyway, so it incorporates all this other stuff into the Battletech, and the construction rules are really the gem of the whole thing. It allows you to bring any army from any era, from any faction, and it's all balanced. You can take a 30-25 versus a 30-150 unit, and with the point values of Alpha Strike, they should match up and should be an even fight. The other thing is, mostly on the construction rules side, is we wanted to be able to offer the community the pickup game. You go to your store and I show up. We both have a 350. We don't have to get out the rule books. We don't have to discuss which era we're playing. We don't have to print off record sheets. I've got my 350 here. You've got your 350 here. Let's random roll a scenario and boom, you're playing within 10 minutes.
You were trying to build a format for people to pick up.
Right. And anybody knows there's very rarely do you get a pickup game set up and ready to go in 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's something we have been working on for a long time, perfecting over and over and over again. It's still not perfect. We're still making little tweaks here and there, but we have run, I think, 4 or 5 successful tournaments with 10 or plus more people, and it's been fantastic. Everyone's had a blast. You've really made something successful when someone goes, they get their butts handed to them, but they're like, oh, I had so much fun, and I know exactly what to do to my list to make it better, and I'm going to change this stuff, and they're more excited for the next game than they are focusing on the fact that they just went 0-4.
Yeah, no.
So
like if you can get that engagement, that's a solid win.
King of the Hill. There it is.
There you go.
King of the Hill.
Stand up fight, King of the Hill, domination, rampage, catch the flag.
I sell Alpha Strike and Alpha Strike accessories.
Well, often the king of the hill is the Marauder, especially in the heavyweight class.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, I see what you did there.
So the the machine we're talking about today, and for the next couple episodes, is the Marauder, a 75-ton iconic behemoth. What can be said about this guy? From the moment it first walked off the factory floor, everyone knew that it was something to marvel at. It tops out at the top of the heavy bracket, but can toss punches with assault mechs no problem. It's got speed and armor to take hits and keep up. It's got a weapon profile that favors long-range energy systems, allowing it to stay combat effective after its consumables have run dry. Its capabilities made it a natural choice for commanders, and so many models have stock command equipment such as improved in communications. But that's just the stats. To fully understand the Marauder, you must look at why it strikes fear into the heart of mech warriors from Terra to the clan homeworlds. It looks like nothing else on the battlefield, and it's walked off the battlefield for generations, leaving everything broken in its wake, sporting no hands and a hunched-over design that is iconic and unique. While the Atlas has the Death's Head design to evoke a factor of fear, the Marauder has no such integrated design, but its reputation and recognizable silhouette now evokes that fear reflex after generations of terrorizing the battlefield. Is it any wonder that after its introduction by General Motors, it was subcontracted out or bootlegged or freebooted by 10 other manufacturers?
This is the shareware battle mech.
Yar, our fiddle-dee. Making a Marauder is my rate to be. I don't know where I was going with that.
And also a member of the Unseen.
She's the end-all be-all of Battletech in my mind.
That's why Coach is here tonight. He didn't miss a chance to talk about the Marauder.
You mentioned the looks of the of the Marauder, and to me, and it is, when you're getting into the game, you're looking like, okay, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. And then you see the Marauder, and it's just like, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
That is that just screams, come pilot me, and I won't let you down.
It is definitely one of the most alien looking of all of the battle mechs, particularly the original TRO 3025 ones.
Mm-hmm. It just has a Velociraptor like quality to it. I'm just gonna wreck you, and sometimes you're like, oh, it's such a pretty mech that I don't mind getting killed
murdered by it.
It's a mech that strikes fear in you. It's graceful. It is Grim Reaper-ish almost.
I mean, it is completely written into the DNA of Battletech, and I mean that both physically and metaphorically. It's been there since the very beginning, and its design philosophies or the iconography of it has been shared among many other machines. Like the arms, how many times have we seen those arms or arms that evoke that or make an allusion to it on other machines? The hunched over design, it became very iconic and copied in several ways with varying levels of success.
Well, look at the entire clan Toman in 3050. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah,
half of it's like, well, don't fix what's not broken, we'll just make it better.
We'll just make it a Marauder, but different.
Put some shiny new clan tech in there.
Yeah, but I mean, the Timberwolf, the Vulture. You could even go far as the Widowmaker, the Direwolf, and boy, I'm trying to use all the clan names.
Masakari.
Masakari, there you go. Warhawk, there we go.
I mean, anything with those legs.
Anything that's not human leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the mech that pronounced to the entire inner sphere that I don't need hand actuators.
Yeah.
Hands are for losers.
And going back to it's iconic and how long it's been around, it's the cover of the original TRO 3025.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I said, it's really alien, in part because this is one of the most iconic Unseen Macross, Dougram Macross fans. I don't know the whole Robotech nomenclature. Will recognize this as the Glaug Officer Pod Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's iconic in more than one franchise, which I think also really lends to the mystique of it, because people who aren't familiar with Battletech are still familiar with this mech.
It helps open the door.
Yeah,
doors are meant to be opened.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys get into if you want to get into the whole what it used to look like to what it looks like now, but I'm so glad that they kept the art close to the original Marauder. They just beefed it up a little, and it still looks menacing as pew.
Yeah, they just basically shifted it into the design aesthetic that they are using for all of the Kickstarter and recognition guides.
Yeah, because
it's not a redesign, it's an update.
Because that redesign in the middle, that one,
That's a
I won't even touch that one.
So I'm looking at an original Marauder 3R plastic mini from the 3rd edition box and my new Kickstarter one. And there is one big divergence from that original mini. They gave the new one a waist so it can properly torso twist now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the old one pretty much just sat and the legs were just attached to the torso. There was really no undercarriage, if you want to say so.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the art, though, there is like a what looks like a point of articulation directly above the hips where it would rotate, but it wouldn't be rotating like evenly. You would be kind of rotating on an angle because of how it is leaning forward.
Yeah, there's like
almost
a ball.
pendulum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm really, in fact, I'm almost leaning towards the new sculpt being my favorite.
Fair.
Whoa, bold.
I know. It's bold words for an old grognard like myself, but I
and
just
brash.
the more I look at it, it's just it looks so pretty.
Yeah, like the thing about the Project Phoenix art, like I don't think it's bad. It's just not a Marauder, you know.
I would have chalked that up as another Battlemech, like this is the something, but just don't call it a Marauder. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But I'm
to
sure
me.
we can talk about that more when we get to them. But our first model today, sorry Chandler, did I cut you off there?
No, I was just making fun of Coach.
Okay. Carry on. So the first model today, which we will talk about after I mention the design quirks, because I did not do that.
How dare you?
So it has the design quirks of Command Mech, direct torso mount for the right torso, hyper-extending actuators, narrow/low profile, and exposed weapon linkage on the AC5. Our first model is the MAD-1R, seen in 2612, and this guy's got a movement profile of 4.6. It's got an AC5 in the right torso, it's got a medium laser and PPC in the right arm, and then the same in the left arm. It's got 16 single heat sinks. It has Pharaoh case in the right torso for the 1 ton of ammo, and it's a very good mech, even if it is a little warm.
And I enjoy cooking my rations inside my mech.
So with the MREs you get with this one, they don't include like any water or like the aluminum plate that you put in to heat anything up.
Yeah, no, you just boil it.
So the directional torso mount, you treat the weapons that are in that location as if they have a shoulder turret. So they can move kind of independent of the torso itself.
Which you can see since the AC5 is on that big old turret. It says it's in the right torso, but it really looks like it's in the center torso.
Yeah. Chalking it up yet again to Battletech not really caring aesthetically what the torso is other than it is a torso.
Yeah, I've never understood that one, but I mean, if they were going to put it on the right-hand side, you would just think for weight-wise that would just throw it off.
Well, there's not, rules construction-wise, there's not enough room to put it in the center torso.
Right.
And I don't know, I do not care for that AC5 or occasionally Gauss rifle mount because it gets into that whole, well, the reason Battlemechs have become lost tech is you need transporter technology from Star Trek to get the ammunition from the Doctor Who ammo bins into the breach.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey something.
What do you mean I can't put my ammo in my legs for the thing that's in my arm?
Yeah. Come on. Of course that works.
It does, doesn't it?
It's the 31st century. Well, technically, it was 28th century, 27th century.
Something.
They got super awesome belt-fed ammunition that maybe expand. Maybe they put it together while it feeds up. Comes in all little tiny pieces, and then.
This is
Doubtful.
This is why Marauder battle armor is the best Marauder.
Very true.
So the 1R has a battle value of 1420 and a point value of 37. Then we hop over to the 2R, seen in 2760, and it has a movement profile of 4-6. It's got an AC5 in the right torso, an ER PPC, and a medium laser in the right arm, and same in the left arm. It upgrades those single heat sinks to doubles, which is good to see, and it keeps that case and single ton of ammo and ferro, all exactly where they were before, except the heat sinks are now kind of spread out in the torso because they don't fit in the legs anymore.
Shh. Don't tell them that. They'll know.
The other things that makes the Marauder so iconic is you can look at its weapons profile, especially in Alpha Strike, because of the way all of the stats are condensed down into raw effectiveness. The Marauder series is kind of the prototypical what should a heavy mech, particularly a 75-ton heavy mech, look like. 4-6 movement profile, 2 main guns, a secondary gun, some backup guns, maybe a missile launcher on the SRM variants and stuff.
Yeah, something for short range that you're not using all the time, because this guy definitely wants to hang back or be at the back of the formation, giving that fire support. It doesn't want to be right into the thick of it. That being said, it can be and be super effective.
Yeah, if you're playing 3025, I'll take this every day. It's cheap, so you can lower the pilot skill and gunnery a little bit to kind of give it a little better punch and not be spending out the wahoo. But you get the double heat sinks, you can double fire those ERPPCs. It's got decent movement. For Alpha Strike reasons, I always drop this guy to a 3 instead of a 4. I mean, at a point value of 40, I think he goes up to like a 48 or something like that.
Sounds
and
right.
That's well worth it for me. At 4-4-3 with 7 armor and 6 structure, he lives forever and he doesn't die.
I mean, sustainability on the battlefield is important.
Yeah. And if you can have a pilot skill 3 pilot living 1 or 2 extra rounds after that makes up for a lot.
And if you're playing Classic, you can fire both those ERPPCs and the AC5 and walk and wind up at 0 heat.
Yeah, that's huge. You can pump a lot of points or a lot of damage into something and not be at any heat. Get your cover, put her in some trees, and just it's why it's a command mech. It's able to see the battlefield and still deal a lot of damage.
And like the placement of the AC5 is quite nice, especially if you're doing Mech Warrior game X, because you can have it clear things, unlike the arms, which are kind of low slung, so they'll clip on stuff. Oh
yeah, it definitely has a low profile. So if you're trying to peek over a hill or something like that on Mech Warrior Online,
it'll do it.
Might not always reach your target.
Yeah, that is one problem with this in video games, because you can't lift the arms up to clear terrain like you would be able to in the real deal.
Yeah.
It suffers compared to some other designs.
Yeah, especially since in canon it has the design quirk of hyper-extending actuators, so you should be able to get it wherever you need it to go.
You'd think so.
Those hyper-extending actuators basically just allows it to do the arm flip if you're playing with quirks.
I thought it allowed you to torso twist further.
No, so essentially hyperextending actuators mean your arms can get behind you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it does
extended
have the
torso
for
twist.
twist. Yes.
There you go.
But it lists torso in the thing.
Yeah. So hyperextending actuators, you can flip your arms no matter what. You can have the biggest fists in the world and still flip them arms.
Well, I guess I got to start playing with quirks.
Yeah. Come on, coach.
Then your Marauder can be a rifleman as well.
Oh, he could be a rifleman too.
No, just a regular rifleman.
So the 2R has a battle value of 1630 and a point value of 40. So definitely those double heat sinks and ERs kind of popping those point values up a little bit.
Yeah, it's about a 20% increase.
Yeah, you pay for it, but
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
15% increase.
So after the 2R, we have the 3R. Keeps that movement profile at 4-6. It has the AC5 in the right torso, a medium laser and PPC in the right arm, and same in the left arm. It goes back to single heat sinks, and the difference here is that it does not have case, and it loses the ferro. So this is a Succession Wars downgrade, making it make do.
This is the OG Marauder, the TRO 3025 Marauder.
Back in ye olden days.
This is when they destroyed all the good stuff, and this is all they could find back. Hence the no case, hence the no Pharaoh. This is when your case broke and nobody was around to be able to fix it or knew how to fix it.
This is the machine that you pulled off the battlefield after the case was blown out and all the Pharaoh was blasted off.
This is the mech that everyone gets to play after the Succession War.
Everyone told everyone they had to go home and take the toys with them, and everyone forgot to take the toys back.
I still like the mech. It's just if you've played with the 2R and then having to go to this, it's tough to go back to.
Yeah, like once you get the shiny tech, you never want to give it up.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that can be said about a lot of the stuff in TRO 3025.
People want to give it up.
But as you can see, everybody still used it.
Yeah, this is the famous one from a lot of the early novels. Grayson Death Carlisle drove it. I think the Red Duke drove it.
Yep.
You saw it in the Warrior trilogy. This was everywhere. The 3R.
Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, but they get a special record sheet of their own, one of which we will cover later in the episode.
Ooh.
So the 3R was seen in 2819, and it has a BV of 1363 and a point value of 35. Now, of course, we start to break into the different successor state flavors. We start off with the 3D, seen in 2834, and it has the movement profile of 4.6. It's got a large laser in the right torso, a medium laser, and PPC in the right arm. Same in the left arm. It's got 20 single heat sinks, and no weight savings because we're still Succession Wars era, but this is the Davian flavor, and it's weird to see a Davian without a autocannon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the D is supposed to stand for Davian or deep fried.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
I mean, at least it upped the heat sinks to 20, so that's something.
Yeah, you can now fire both PPCs without overheating, which is a bonus, but you can't mix that large laser in.
No.
This is somebody at the NAIS going, what if we did this?
And no one's there to stop them.
Honestly, from a practical standpoint, I think this is better because you don't have to have a way to move that ammunition into the AC5. You just have power linkages going up there through the little mount.
Yeah, and also it makes it ammo independent, so longer deployments much easier.
It is nice when a PPC goes down, you effectively can still have that punch of the PPC and large laser, and if you needed to, the medium lasers. But, I mean, the autocannon 5, it doesn't punch like a large laser.
No, few things do. Like, large lasers, I feel, are a underappreciated benchmark in the universe.
Slept on?
Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah, I was just going to go look up on Sudsy because I think they're actually just as efficient for heat and tonnage as PPCs, if not a little bit more.
I prefer large lasers because when I get nice and close to use my AC-20, the large laser doesn't have a minimum range.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that being said, you can't undersell the canon, in-universe effect of a PPC of the crackle and the distortion and all of that. There's a psychological effect that just doesn't translate to the tabletop.
And getting back to the real world stuff, you've lost that autocannon, which means you don't have the ability to... Sorry.
Man down.
Beer me. Let's try that again. From the practical perspective, you've lost the ability to sling high explosive, which makes you less effective at supporting infantry against other infantry positions, particularly dug-in infantry.
Yeah. I mean, there is a little bit of lenience given for the fact that it has PPCs, and they're described as being able to take giant chunks out of things, so we'll give it half points, I guess, for infantry.
Yeah, just hope the enemy didn't bring lightning rods, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not going to be extremely effective, squad morale broken, being shot by man-made lightning is going to freak anyone out.
True.
And even if it wasn't the man-made lightning that scared everyone, you're still getting attacked by a very giant stompy robot. Most infantrymen probably don't want to have anything to do with that.
Not everyone is as brave as Grayson Carlisle.
Exactly.
I think that's why Grayson and the Grey Death Legion are one of my favorite Merc units in all of BattleTech.
They're a good one.
You could make the argument that no one's as insane as Grayson Carlisle.
Or desperate.
Yeah.
Well, the 3D has a battle value of 1470 and a point value of 35. We then come to Chandler's boy, the 3M for Merrick.
Merrick.
This guy was seen in 2873, and it has the movement profile of 4.6. It's got the AC5 in the right torso. It's got a large laser and a medium laser in the right arm, and same in the left arm. It's got 20 single heat sinks, no case, and no Pharaoh, of course, because we are still Succession Wars, and it moves the AC ammo to the left torso.
I like this one better.
Yeah.
PPCs are really good, but dropping down to the large lasers, you bring your weapons profile in better line with your AC5, you free up tonnage for more heat sinks, and now you're completely heat neutral again. Like you're actually more heat neutral than the 2R.
Yeah.
Because you can run, shoot the AC5, shoot both large lasers, and still have the heat left over to fire a medium laser and only come in like 1 point over.
And I mean, one heat over is completely manageable for a build-up over 3 or 4 turns, and then you just drop something and lose it all in one.
Exactly.
Like, this is I think this is a good machine to start to cut your teeth on learning how to manage your heat. You know, you're now graduated from the completely heat neutral or icebox mechs to something where you gotta be a little more careful about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's Merrick, which always makes it nice.
So yeah, what are your thoughts on the 2 large laser, 2 medium laser AC5 version?
It's the better version.
It is the better version, just because you can do more with the heat that you have. Again, if I had to pick between the D and the M, I'd probably still go with the D. Yeah, I'd still go with the 2R. It's not super fancy. It's more the same thing, except you're just exposing yourself to the ammo hits again. Mm-hmm. But, potato.
Well, it does run a little cooler.
Yes, it does, because of the large lasers. And that's one of the main benefits. But again, I would not much cooler, but enough to probably make it worth it. So I just always seem to get unlucky with the ammo hits, so if it doesn't have to have ammo, I don't usually take it.
Fair enough. Not having ammo is better than having case.
Yeah. You don't need case if I ain't got no ammo to explode.
Tis true. Well, this guy's got a battle value of 1335 and a point value of 34. So arguably a better machine, but doesn't reflect in the points there.
Well, yeah, because the points are just calculating the total damage.
Yeah. I mean, and that loss of range is a thing.
Yep, reduces your ability to hit.
Yeah, range, mange.
Range. I just run in with it anyway.
Yeah.
Everything's short range to me.
Everything's a hunchback if you play it the right way.
Yeah. Everything's a hunchback once.
Once.
What do you mean I didn't survive?
Next up, we have the 3L, seen in 2905, and of course the Liao version. We have the 4.6 movement profile, the AC5 in the right torso, the medium laser and PPC in the right arm, and then a large laser and medium laser in the left arm. It has 18 heat sinks and again moves that ammo to the left torso. No case, no Pharaoh. So kind of splitting the difference between the 3R and the 3M.
Yeah, this is just to make OCD people just lose their mind.
Yeah, I'm not OCD, but at the same time, just the concept. I'm not a military person who deals with logistics like one of our liaisons is. Shout out to him. But just the concept of needing a large laser and a PPC for the same mech, but not two of them, just one of them, is just ridiculous.
So I think TRO 3025 has a great take on this. A compromise between the two extremes is Liao's Marauder L, which seems to have satisfied no one.
Yeah.
Replacing one PPC with a heavy laser has caused problems, as the Dalpin fire control system is sometimes unable to coordinate the two different weapons on the same circuit. Attempts to repair or modify the system have been unsuccessful, as no one alive understands the technology. Often Marauder L pilots will disconnect the heavy laser from the fire control unit altogether and simply use a manual switch to shoot.
Jeez. This just screams Liao being like, look, we did something different. This is the Liao version.
If I pull trigger, mech die. That's all I need to know as a pilot, right?
L stands for lame.
Which is a shame because I was looking at the Vandal earlier and having fun making it mine, and it was fun. And this is about the exact opposite of fun.
Well, it's got a battle value of 1369 and a point value of 35. And we come now to our first named variant. Sort of, kind of, yes, no. It is the Marauder Bounty Hunter 3015, seen in 3015. And this guy is a little different. It's got a movement profile of 353. It's got a PPC and medium laser in the left arm, same in the right arm. And then it has a medium laser in the left torso, a PPC in the right torso, as well as another medium laser, and then a medium laser in the center torso. So very clearly cribbing points from the art that was taken from Macross, because it's got those little gun turret spout things poking off the front of the torso. But medium lasers, can't go wrong with those. They're a fantastic piece of tech. So efficient. It also has 18 double heat sinks, and yeah.
So I'll jump right into this. There's a reason this is the Bounty Hunter version, because this guy went out for a little history on the Bounty Hunter. It was usually him with a Marauder painted all green with all the different kind of money symbols painted all over. There's no don't get me wrong, they're not for camouflage. They're to make it a point to saying, hey, guess who's here? The Bounty Hunter.
It's not camouflage, it's branding.
It's branding. He usually worked with a group of 3. He was never usually on his own. But this mech just screams, I can go anywhere, do anything, anytime, and I don't have to have downtime. I don't have to have a lot of techs on it. I can move where I need to with the jump jets. It is just, I love this version so much, but again, a lot of times I can't play it. But I've seen a lot of iterations of this one painted up as a Bounty Hunter, and they're all awesome. Like, if you can have a steady hand to get the credit symbols or the money symbols on it, it looks so good.
I imagine it would still look good if you were able to like just roll out the money for all the money symbols in like little decals and stuff.
Yeah, Fighting Piranha, get on that. Just make one sheet with like all the different kind of symbols on it.
Just Bounty Hunter pack.
You'd sell that in a heartbeat. That's a no-brainer right there.
No-brainer.
This was
for more marketing and product ideas, contact us at.
This was actually one of the first Marauders I ever painted. I have the old Tester's acrylic paint, and it was glittering green.
That's perfect.
That is a beautiful color. I don't know.
It would not work on anything, but I was like, oh, I saw it, and I was like, I know what this is going on, and I just slathered it on. I didn't care if it looked like. I was like, ha, I got a Bounty Hunter.
That's fair.
I mean, we all have that learning, progression in skill and our journey as painters, and we can appreciate how things get better, but we can also look back fondly of like, oh yeah, I made that mistake too. Yeah.
Who needs to worry about mistakes when you can just paint it all as Slanesh and then it's all just constantly bright colors?
Yeah.
None of our listeners understand what you just said.
That's fine. They don't need to.
So there's a rumor. I don't know if it's a rumor. I don't know if it's canon. I'm not 100% sure. But I have heard multiple times that this was actually Natasha Kerensky's mech.
Oh, yes.
And the Bounty Hunter piloted a Warhammer. And the two of them fought. And they just mangled each other so bad that they both had to evacuate. But can't remember if it was the Bounty Hunter that came back and took her mech because he won, and then she forever, to forever remind her of her loss, took the mantra of the Warhammer.
Yeah, he took her Marauder.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's how it went. Now, is that canon, or is that just like...
That is canon.
That is
It is canon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's definitely canon that there's some it's definitely canon
blood.
that there's some it's definitely canon that there's some bad blood between them.
Yeah. Okay. So, and again, that just adds to the backstory of the Marauder. It's like, oh, Natasha Kerensky took it first.
Yeah. So, and then the official record states that the bounty hunter was piloting a Griffin when he ambushed her unit, but there are rumors claiming that she somehow came back and stole his Warhammer, but she herself has never claimed that.
Ah.
And I'm
interesting.
just reading off of Sarna, so
That sounds like there should be a Shrapnel episode written by, I don't know, a certain Wolfnet Radio author.
A certain Garls
Master?
Kidian.
A certain published Shrapnel author already. I don't know. Maybe.
A certain Carl's Kidian.
Just throwing it out there.
Or maybe a custom Alpha Strike mission designed around stealing the Marauder using Wolfnet forces.
or maybe an HBS Flashpoint.
Okay, now you guys are getting me excited.
Because actually, there is an HBS Flashpoint where you are there with the
part
bounty
of the
hunter.
DLC.
Yeah, the
you
widows
have
and the
a-
bounty hunters show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the best part is when you just let them kill each other and you come in and be like, yes, hello, I will want your mech now.
Yep.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Because I heard if you get in the middle of it, like, it's not a good day.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you
yeah,
don't want to be
but-
in there.
At a certain point in the game, when you have like, max clan tech if you're using mods and have a bunch of assault mechs, you just waddle into the middle of it and you say, hello, children. I have come with real gun.
Vanilla game, you take the bull shark or whatever they call it with the artillery
Thumpa.
piece,
Yeah.
and you let them duke it out, and then you just drop artillery shells on them.
That bull shark is weird.
And
I
ruin
want
the
one.
next 25 years of or 50 years of history.
While we're on the bull shark, that thing is beautiful in HBS. I want 3 because I can fit AC-20s on it and make it really fast and just yeet it at people.
My name's Chandler, and I have a problem.
I do. I acknowledge I have a problem. I just don't want to fix it.
Well, I'm glad Coach could join us today because we're not actually recording. This is an intervention.
Oh, good.
Ah. Are you guys trying to get me to change?
No, get
this
Chandler
is-
to change.
Oh, we're trying to get Chandler.
Hold on. No, we got to get Coach changed. Coach, you need to move your mech.
Fair.
Show me on the Nightwolf where the elementals touched you.
We're probably a long ways off till the Marauder that I'm using now, but I do very well with that one these days.
Yes, you do.
Nothing like jumping 100-ton XXs.
And for the listeners who's going, wait, I thought this was a 75-ton. There is a Marauder 2,
Oh,
which
spoilers.
is an assault mech that weighs in at 100 tons.
Spoilers.
Because the only way they could think to make it better was to make it bigger.
Yep.
You guys have to have Andrew on for that one.
Why? Because he's the bigger Krull?
Oh,
Ooh.
oh,
Shots fired.
only in one way.
Well, this guy, the bounty hunter from 3015, has a battle value of 1919 and a point value of 45. And then we come to our second named model, the Mad-SD Douglas, seen in 3025. This guy's got an interesting little layout. It's got a large laser and medium laser in the right arm, same in the left arm, and then it has 2 SRM4s in the right torso. It has a movement profile of 4.6 and 21 heat sinks.
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
love it.
fun.
Now, what would really, and I don't think I've ever seen a model made to reflect this version, but it would look so cool. Just 2 little pillboxes right on top of the torso, just stacked on top of each other.
So, Mech Warrior Online's version of PGI's version of the Marauder, they have a model with the missile launchers, and their Marauder has the AC system integrated into the torso, so theirs just has like a sleek. You're following like one of the sides next to the cockpit, and all of a sudden it just turns into missile ports.
Yeah, honestly, out of all the art, I still like MechWarrior Online's the best. The new art is good, but it's not quite as good.
See, it looks a little alien. Like, it looks more like a Marauder 2C. Sorry, spoilers again.
Wow.
But
I mean, is it really a spoiler if those are listed in the syllabus?
probably not. I still like it. I really do like it. It just, I don't know. I think the jump jet turret, the jump packs on it stick out too much.
Packs on it.
If you know what I mean.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm picking up what you're laying down now.
They look like wing. I mean, it's probably more aerodynamic that way. It allows it to actually jump. But, that just brings a pro tip. When those little packs break off of your Marauder in the Kickstarter, that's fine. You just run the 2R version. Or this one.
Yeah, but I like the SRMs because, it's able to deal with infantry and entrenched units pretty well. The large lasers and the 21 heat sinks are able to handle that no problem. So
Yeah, if you're not firing your SRMs and you just fire all your laser complement, you're only generating movement heat, which is great on a Marauder, especially the early Marauders, which are notorious for being heat, saunas.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that it has HE capability, more HE capability, because as an infantryman, having somebody who can actually support me is nice.
especially if they're walking around in one of these.
Yeah.
Throw a couple Infernos in there.
Ooh. I mean, you only got 1 ton of ammo, so that's a little
Make
tough
it-
unless you're
make 'em
unless
count.
you're running some house rules, half tons.
So is that the main reason we're not using SRM special ammo in 350 coach? Because
Yes.
then everything with SRM would have heat.
Exactly. To diverge, there's a lot of things we don't allow in the 350. One, because that, and two, it's just looking up rules again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you guys, but I hate it when a game stops and the books come out and they're like, oh, I think I got it on page 47. Well, no, wait, that tells me to go to page 72. Nope, 146. You're like,
See, I'm a big proponent of let's talk about it real quick, figure out what makes sense for this game, resolve it, and then we can look it up after the game. Keep the game moving, have that momentum, keep up, and have fun.
well, that's
And you're-
great if you're playing with a rational person, but
See, now if you are at an impasse where the two people cannot decide, eventually you can do this trick. Roll a d6 and someone picks high, someone picks low, and that will be the outcome, and then you look it up at the end.
I also agree. But remember, this is BattleTech. People really like to be right in BattleTech.
Battletech,
There
more
may
like
or may
Battle
not be a
Wreck.
selection bias in this this fandom, is what you're saying.
Maybe.
Be right and do math. That's the two things Battletech players like most.
So the neat thing about this Douglas is I feel like it's the first Marauder that really wants to actually wade in and get close.
Yeah, this bad boy does not want to be at long range
No,
or medium range.
no. He wants to be nice and close. I appreciate that in a mech.
Mm-hmm.
Which it looks like it's maxed out on armor too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It has all 231 points of armor it can hold.
Like, you would almost want to think that, I don't know how much you would have to shave off, but to give it, if you bump this thing up to a 5.8,
You'd have to shave off a lot.
you'd have to shave off a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, without light or XL engines, yeah, you'd have to shave a lot.
Yeah, then it's just not feasible. Then go with the armor, baby.
Now, the next one on the list, I feel like, is a better candidate for getting to the 5.8 movement.
Well, the Douglas has a battle value of 1459 and a point value of 39. And the one Chandler is alluding to is the MAD-4X seen in 3039. And the last model for today's episode. It has a movement profile of 4.6. It has a SRM in both the right and left torso. It has a blaze cannon in both the right and left arm. It has 18 double heat sinks. Hold on.
No, it does. It has double heat sinks.
They're
18 double
primitive.
heat sinks.
Right.
It's 12
Correct.
plus 6.
Yes, sorry. It
It
has
has-
the
It has prototype heat sinks.
it has the engine heat sinks plus
Mhm.
everything else is the prototype heat sinks.
Yeah, because when you look at the record sheet, it has double listed, but 18 in brackets 24.
Right.
So it can sink 24 heat.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is from one of the auxiliary products, the tech.
Experimental tech readouts.
It's experimental,
experimental
tech.
tech. Yeah. And this was a model that actually was a challenger to the 5M, which will be in our next episode. And it didn't take off, because, well, blaze cannons, they didn't really take off.
And to be clear, for people who are wondering what a blaze cannon, it's a binary laser cannon, or a binary laser.
Yeah,
It uses
binary
two
laser
barrels.
cannon.
2 barrels, does lasery shenanigans with mixing those 2 barrels for more damage.
Yeah, it's supposed to converge into one laser.
Essentially, someone took 2 large lasers, inner sphere large lasers, welded them together, and said, "Let's try this." But they
You're
only
not
fed
wrong.
it just
You're
about
not
the same amount of power. So
Apparently the concept came from an infantry laser, and on a drunk night, someone said, "Hey, I bet I could do this with a Battlemech large laser."
yeah, blazer rifles are actually really effective as an infantry weapon, but as a Battlemech scale weapon, it does generate far too much heat and not enough damage.
Is
They
there a
don't
little
scale up well.
Is there a write up about this that
Yes.
explains that binary laser, like where they came up with it, fiction wise?
I think there is. I think I recall reading
TAC
something
Ops.
about it in TAC Ops. Yes,
It's only in TAC Ops, according to China.
This sounds like this was the only mech remaining, and they took all the infantry lasers, welded them together, and they're like, "Okay, go for it."
It's 2 large lasers, does 16 heat, weighs 9 tons, has the same large laser range, 5, 10, 15, and does 12 damage.
Mhm.
And there's no special bonuses to hit, ignores armor, or anything like that. It's just, hey, we're firing 2 large lasers to get 50% more damage.
Yep.
For 16 heat, though?
Which
Yep.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, for 2 inner sphere large lasers of damage, almost.
That's true.
No,
That was, what,
it's-
10? No.
12 heat, so you get 50%
12
more
heat.
damage. Sorry, it's 16 heat, 12 damage. So double
Yeah.
the heat, 50% more damage.
Mhm.
And
So it would be more efficient, like heat
Almost
and
double the
damage, to just have 2 large lasers. But I think
it
you
weighs
save a little bit of tonnage on
Yeah.
the blaze cannon. Yeah.
You save 1 ton and how many crits do you save? No, you save no
4.
criticals.
This seems like
Just-
No, you save 4 criticals. Oh no, 'cause it's a two crit weapon normally.
Yeah, 2
Yeah,
criticals
large
for
laser
a
is
large
2
laser.
crits. Yeah.
this does seem like a drunken night.
There's a reason the blaze cannon didn't become standard tech or get worked on a whole lot.
I do feel like going forward into the Dark Ages, this would be a great thing to resurrect when you're leveling out the tech base. Like, hey, we pulled out the blazer, and now
But we were able to upgrade it and make it actually viable.
yeah, and you have it somewhere between clan lasers and clan heavy lasers, and it just becomes the new standard laser for the inner sphere.
They could make a twin laser turret for all my X-Wing buddies. Because that worked out so well.
So the thing that you should remember about blazer cannons, and the thing that describes them perfectly, is the research started in the Lyran Commonwealth, and the first prototype showed up in the Free Worlds League. So that tells you exactly how far FASA was willing to go with it, which is they didn't care about it at all.
That's typical Lyran comments. Like, oh, we got this really awesome tech that doesn't work, but
We'll sell
we
it to the
could
Free Worlds
probably
League,
sell
and
it
they'll
to the
mess with
Free
it.
Worlds League.
So Hans Davian's like, we have this tech that doesn't work really well, but we could trick the Capellans into taking it and use it to f them over.
We'll just doctor some footage.
And then the Lyrans go, we have this tech that doesn't work really well. Merrick's dumb enough to buy it from us.
Well, there's that, and then there's also the whole, FASA's like, well, there's the Free Worlds League over there. If we want something to die, we'll send it there.
That's
But then
true.
We'll never talk about it again.
That's so true. It's such
Why
a.
would you say something so controversial and yet so true?
It's like the writer's out. Like
Yeah.
the writer's like, oh, what about this? And they're like, oh, that's terrible. And they're like, but we already put it in the TRO. And you're like, you did what?
Just put it in the Free Worlds League.
Well,
We'll
just-
forget about it.
Throw it to the Free Worlds League.
So this guy also has 1 ton of ammo in each the left and the right torso for the SRMs, and the other cool thing inside it is endo steel, but it is prototype endo steel.
Yes.
The entry in the experimental tech readout Succession Wars is probably actually paraphrased or dubbed over something Coach said once. Because it says, Bertram, this passed my desk as I was about to send the file off to you. I love Marauders, my team love Marauders, and I assume you love Marauders. Any Marauder is a good Marauder, right? That sounds like something you would say, Coach.
I feel like while the sentiment is there, the actual application probably fell. That's true. I mean, if I had to run it, I'd run it. I like the two SRM6s.
Yeah. And if you're going to run
So-
it with design quirks, this particular model actually has a couple all its own. Improved cooling jacket for the binary lasers, combat computer, cramped cockpit, difficult to maintain, and no ejection system.
So, for those of you at home that do not have the opened up to the correct pages of your, syllabus, naughty, essentially it cools faster using the coolant sleeves. The combat computer makes it also cool faster. So this thing actually probably is relatively cool, all things considering.
If you're running design
Between-
quirks.
Yes.
If you're in a design quirks.
And then you also act like you have a small cockpit, so you get a +1 to all your PSRs, and then you also can eject because, real man whole tank.
I mean, it also gets some pretty neat art in the TRO, which
Which is
definitely
beautiful.
kind of looks like a Marauder, but also not quite.
Isn't
you
this a
know?
Hector?
Like I was talking about,
Kind
it's got the SRM 6-pack on the shoulder. It just kind of looks. The legs are different, and of course this.
You know what? Looking at it, it kind of reminds me of a Vulture or Mad Dog.
Yes, very much.
Backtracking real quick, for those of you who do not know, prototype endosteel has 16 slots as opposed to the standard Innersphere 14 slots. So you get an extra 2 slots for your trebles.
So this is weird. Okay, so I've got the sheet pulled up, right? It says 12 plus 6, and then in parentheses 24. So do you get 30 heat sinks until a couple of those?
No. So essentially, all the engine heat sinks are standard one-to-one heat sinks. And then everything outside of the engine is the prototype doubles.
But they don't sink any heat?
They do. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double heat sinks. And then everything else is singles.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then I'm wondering if that 20, because that only adds up to 22.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
so
taking
there must be 2 integrated heat sinks in the engine that we're not seeing in the critical slots
6.
Yeah.
for that math to make sense.
it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you could put 1 in the head because you do
No,
have
it makes
empty
sense.
slot in the.
It makes perfect sense. You have 6 double heat
6.
sinks outside, which
Alright.
is 12 heat. And then you have 12 heat sinks in the engine, which is another 12.
But
so
normally
24.
an engine has 10.
Yeah.
well,
but-
no, the engine heat sinks scale off of engine size.
Right.
So you're always required to have 10. But if you have a small enough engine, some of those 10 will have to go outside of it. And if
Mhm.
you have a large enough engine, some of those will go inside of it.
Yes.
Yes.
And also to note, it's not scaled off of being an XL or light or standard. It's just raw engine number.
Raw
An
fusion engine.
Yeah. A XL engine does not hold any extra heat sinks compared to a standard
No.
engine.
Even though it's extra large.
Even though it's extra light. It's
And
it's
extra
spooky
large.
scary. It's
It's got 6 extra critical spaces.
because it's lame.
Oh, what?
But,
Hold on. Hold the phone.
Phones are being held. I'm
Do
holding
we
my phone
have
right now.
have some breaking news for you guys?
GDL novella by Schmetzer on the Catalyst store. The price of duty, and it's got a
Kaji the
gladiator on
Shadow
the front.
Colonel.
or not gladiator. Sorry, it's got
Just-
a
No,
gargoyle.
Gargoyle.
And it's got a very large autocannon in one arm. You know what that means?
That's-
Probably not an AC-20 because they
Chandler, get ready. Jason Schmetzer is writing Grey Death Legion.
Ooh.
Hey, Jason, you probably don't listen to this, but can I please be in it?
Too late, it's already-
I have a canon character from the Kickstarter.
It looks like
you,
it's already
Coach.
written, buddy.
Yeah, I can buy it right now. It's already
Oh.
released. It's $3. I might buy it. Not right now though.
Well, there you go, guys. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yep.
Kaji.
How or why could the Grey Death Legion possibly tie into the Marauder? I can't imagine. Like, yeah.
Who knows? Guess you're gonna have to check in next week.
Check in next week on Dragon Ball Z.
Right away, Chandler. Is that an AC-20?
Well, the 4X was seen, as I said, in 3039, and it has a battle value of 1453 and a point value of 33. And this seems like something really cool to play with as a set piece in like a campaign or something.
Oh, like if you're playing to get it or something like that.
Or like
Capture the prototype.
yeah, exactly.
Protect
Or
the
maybe
prototype.
destroy the prototype.
What is interesting is they were prototyping Endo Steel before the clans showed up.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if
I
they're
mean, they
just
were-
like, well, we were way off.
Well, a lot of this rediscovered tech, quote unquote, actually came from the Helm memory core.
Mhm,
So Mhm.
My bad.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you have so much BattleTech information shoved in your brain that
there's so much in there, and then I have to have real world stuff in there too, I guess, huh? Shoot.
This is why
yeah.
you go work for Catalyst, so all you need is one set of knowledge.
oh my goodness.
So that is our models for this episode. We will, of course, be picking up the rest of them in the next few episodes. But now we're going to swap over to pilot profiles. And our first pilot today is Colonel Grayson Death Carlisle. And Josh is going to tell you a little bit about them.
Yeah, so Grayson Carlisle, his middle name is Death, named after his grandfather, which is where the Grey Death Legion comes from. He captured a Marauder during the unit's second major engagement. No, I think it was first major engagement on Trowan, and upgraded to that from the Shadowhawk that was part of his father's mercenary unit. And
of course, we've touched on that Shadowhawk before because it got passed down to his girlfriend
and wife.
Then wife, yeah.
Yep.
His significant other.
Who
Yes, his
he
partner.
introduced himself to by threatening to shoot her in the face with an Inferno missile.
All the best relationships are involved in Inferno missiles. Obviously, come on.
Bold men
I mean-
come on hot.
Yeah, I mean Marauder 4X. Look at that; it can fire Inferno missiles.
I will have to try that pickup line at the bar.
And as we just mentioned, the Helm Memory Core, Grayson and the Grey Death Legion were given a landhold on the planet Helm, which just so happened to have an ancient Star League memory core and cache, which Star League wanted to keep hidden from the rest of the universe. So it became Grayson Death Carlisle and the Grey Death Legion versus Comstar. And
The first time we see Comstar as the villains that they are.
sorry, he captured the Marauder on Verthandi, which is the second novel in the series.
Mhm.
It's just nothing particularly cool or interesting about it. It's just a Marauder 3R, as all Marauders were at the time.
I mean, the only real sad thing, I guess one could say, is that when he captured it, there was a issue with the hatch, and so he had to go into battle with it open, which, if I'm recalling, I have packed up all my books. If I'm recalling correctly, a dying time? No, not a dying time. Or what's the mech? It's
number
not
something.
a BattleTech. It's the mech warrior one that is about the Grey Death Legion.
Dying time.
Yeah, it is a dying time. Fantastic. I have no life, clearly. The doctors credit that at least partially for the cancer that took his life. Spoilers.
Hashtag spoiler warning. Come on, Brett. Jeez.
That's what you think.
A dying
a guy
time.
who saw action in the 3025s is dead in the current timeline of 3050. Shocker.
3060s at that point, because that was the
But
Civil
the current
War.
timeline is 3150.
And no, that would not. I don't think that's a dying time then, because he was already dead in that one. Because his son is
Right.
dealing with his son and his wife are dealing with the idea of he's not around, and now they have to lead the Legion without him.
I'm pretty sure he dies at the very beginning of the book. That's how it starts.
The irony of him being dead in the dying time.
Could very well be. It's been a while since I read that one.
Yeah. I want to say that also my copy had a printing error, so one of the pages was missing half of the text.
Printing errors
Grr.
never happen.
How dare. Printing errors having mechs on front of covers that don't exist yet. I mean, what? Sorry.
No, this was a legit, as in there was not enough ink on the press.
No, I know. I was making a bad joke at CGL's expense.
Yeah, fair.
You hear me, CGL? I know.
Yeah, so that's
It's very interesting.
Grayson Carlisle, or
Well,
at least briefly Grayson Carlisle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, briefly, Grayson Carlisle. Man, there's so much to talk about.
That's why the Grey Death Legion and him are going to get their data dive one day,
Yeah.
but not today.
Grayson Carlisle is one of those figures in BattleTech that if he didn't exist, the entire timeline would shift.
Yes.
With Disney's Loki, with the whole, sacred timeline and splitting timelines. This is one of those moments that if he didn't exist, you'd get all the, little offshoot
Mhm.
timelines doing all their fancy things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he stopped invasions of the Lyran Commonwealth by the Drax on at least 2 occasions. He kept the Helm Memory Core out of the hands of Comstar and made sure it got into the hands of the
Everyone's
other great
hands.
powers.
Yep.
Yeah, it
You can make the argument if Jason Carlisle doesn't exist,
Grayson,
the
not Jason.
clans. Sorry, Grayson Carlisle doesn't exist. The
clans
clans
win.
conquer, yeah, because they don't have the technology to withstand them.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Mhm.
just getting back onto their feet, and then all of a sudden, clans hit.
Forced Succession War doesn't go as well for the FedCom because NAIS doesn't have the Helm Memory Core technology to help bootstrap their own research.
Yeah,
How much of a power change would that give Jamie Wolf?
massive, because he would have essentially.
But he also could not supply everybody with that information
yeah.
fast enough, probably.
Well, I don't know.
He probably would have done it sooner.
But also, that, I mean, that's now we're getting into butterfly theory and weird
That's true.
stuff
That
because
is true.
if Grayson doesn't find the Helm Memory Core, does the FedCom do as well without NAS having access to that?
that jumpstart.
And
I
if
mean-
if they don't, then do the clans go, oh no, the inner sphere is unifying without us. We have to invade soon.
But you're also talking about Comstar had how many regiments of hidden units from the Star League?
Mhm.
So
I feel like we're starting to vastly get off topic. I will put
That's
in my
true.
2 cents of I still think Fourth Secession War, the Capellans still get utterly just crushed underneath the heel of Davian,
Yes.
bootstrapness.
Mhm.
And the Cretans do what they do, which is not sure who to fight because you have the Lyrans and the Davians. But with the, clans invading, the clans just utterly roll. You don't have the technology to withstand them.
Yeah. Sorry, Coach, you were saying?
no, just pro tip: read Decision at Thunder Rift.
Oh, it's a great book.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's like on the top 10 of all, maybe top 5 of all the novels. It's so good.
That book is the book that kind of kindled straight up a interest in the BattleTech history, the old school stuff for me. Because coming from being a Dark Ages novel reader and not being particularly impressed with the Warrior trilogy, fun books, but I didn't really think they were all that.
Yeah.
Decision at Thunder Rift was such a unique and interesting book. And it didn't just focus on the mechs. Like I said, Grayson meets his future wife by
Yep.
threatening her with an Inferno missile.
It's the best love story ever.
The best love stories start with Inferno missiles.
There's so much going on in that's out of the cockpit.
Oh, yeah.
It gives you a really good feel for what the mech universe, the BattleTech universe is without just giving you mech porn.
Stompy robots.
Hey
Yeah.
man, what do you mean no stompy robots? That's like what I'm here for. Without the stompy robots, I don't have a reason to be here.
I mean, the stompy robots are great, but they're what gets you in the door, but they're not what makes you stick around for the good times.
It's the chicks in a locust that are barely clothed. Come on.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that book does establish that cooling vests at one point were lost tech.
Don't
Yep.
you how dare me,
He-
Chandler.
Next up, we have Duke Hasid Rickle, the Red Duke, the Red Hunter. Rickle is part of the Draconis Combine, but with the way he would like it, he would like to be the Draconis Combine. If he was able to succeed in all of his myriads of schemes and plots, he very well may have changed the fate of the Inner Sphere.
Mhm.
Rickle had a
Cola.
Ricola had a Marauder painted in red and black of his house, which of course Krita, and was an iconic presence within Cretan propaganda, ironically, given his plots and schemes. He is technically, or maybe, or not at all, succeeded by the mercenary Abdun Rickle, who also pilots a Marauder, and also fancies himself as the Red Hunter, although it's not certain whether he actually is a descendant. Although with the way he holds himself, he might as well be a descendant, because there's more than one way to be a descendant than by blood.
He is the spiritual successor, we'll
Yes.
say.
And of course, Rickle has a couple of things to do with Grayson Carlisle once or twice, maybe even 3 times.
Hmm.
They might be friends. I think they're friends, aren't they? Friends,
By the end, they're friends.
Well,
something like that.
they're not friends. They're
Frenemies.
grudging allies.
Allies of
Frenemies.
convenience.
Yeah. Enemy of
Definitely
my enemy
frenemies.
is Comstar.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think we should give credit where credit is due because he kind of is the template for the Draconis Combine, political machinations, cloak and dagger. Like, he was the template.
Yeah, and I wish they had stuck a little more closely to it because he's a lot less Bushido and a lot more intrigue.
Yeah.
And I feel like
More Machiavellian, if you will.
Yeah, more Machiavelli, less Diamo. And
I think that it would be a good thing to have a subsection of to Combine be like Duke Krull, but not all of it. Just like every of the nations should have a subsection that doesn't quite mesh with the rest of it. I mean, the Capellans kind of had the Northwind Highlanders once or twice, maybe even 3 times. And they don't really mesh very well with the rest of it.
I guess my point is the Draconis Combine has become a weeb meme at this point. It's straight Battletech anime.
Yeah.
And Duke Krull or Ricola is a refreshing change from that because he's not all Bushido, all
He's
that.
not a caricature.
Yeah.
He's not World War II Japan.
No, he's much more fleshed out and interesting.
Which,
Yes.
on a side note, has been a very nice thing about Dark Ages Draconis Combine because instead of being World War II Japan, they are Shogunate Japan, where you have the Emperor being, I am the Emperor, but I'm not in charge, but kind of, but yes.
Very much a hands-off kind of a guy.
We were just talking about Duke Ricola.
Yes, well, kind of a woman right now.
Mm-hmm. Man, the Red Hunter. He it was fun reading about him. Like you guys are talking about. He wasn't cookie cutter Draconis Combine.
Mm-hmm.
And
But ironically, he is kind of the template, the genesis of everything because he was the first.
right. He's what you wanted the Draconis Combine to be, I guess.
Yeah.
And it took them that long to go, oh, we had the template. We just kind of went, we didn't focus on that template. We just kind of kept going with the same thing.
We should have taken a right, but instead we went left.
Instead, we went left.
I think I took a left at Albuquerque.
The answer was right in front of us, but it's so fun to read, and I like how when BattleTech goes, you have the big picture, but then you dive into like the smaller, like the Red Hunter Special Operations Group. That was so much fun reading about because it's a smaller group. You get to find out more character-based stuff. It's not like the broad paint, it's not the broad paintbrush as most things are written back then.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic foil, and we hope to see a spiritual successor of that mantle for the Draconis Combine in the future.
Oh, I'm very excited about what's going to happen with the Combine.
I'm very excited. She's kind of the Empress, she's the new coordinator, but so far she's been a puppet.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe she is now starting to push back against that and show her teeth.
Yeah, she just gave her her chief warlord, who's really the power behind the throne, an army he didn't know that she had raised.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, by the way, I have this army you don't know about. You can use it.
Yori
Kurita.
I'm very interested to see how that develops because you could very easily turn this into like a industrial era Japan where you've got a burgeoning resurgent Draconis Combine out of nowhere, which would be very interesting to put onto the stage right now.
Do we want a more resurgent Draconis Combine considering they've taken New Avalon?
I mean, by resurgent, I could mean able to actually survive the coming storm of Alarg being a absolute. But
Yeah.
I mean, they will.
Yeah, because they'll survive in some form, but how big and how many licks they take is up in the air.
how many licks
but
does
like-
it take to get to the center of a Draconis Combine?
Well, right now they're very spread out.
It
Oh,
takes
yeah.
at least 3 to get to the center of them right now. We'll
So-
see how long it actually takes.
It would not be, I don't know. They're going to go either two of one ways. We might see, okay, both are, one's not so crazy. One is they pull back, they protect themselves, they go defensive mode. Or the crazier tinfoil hat is Julian and Yori
Get married.
get married.
I'm going to be honest with you, Coach. I'm seeing that more with Denai just because of the snide comments they've made in the Legends book with her Black Knight being named Julian. That would be the ultimate thing just to mess with her. It would be like, yeah, I need you to marry your enemy right now. Okay, thanks, bye.
I'm just saying that would
be interesting.
Man,
No, I don't see that given what Caleb did to her. and the
Yeah,
way
see, but
she
Julian is not Caleb, and that's why it would be an interesting arc.
Let's
Story
just say
wise,
I
I'm
don't
not
think it'll
saying
be a
realistically it'd be.
it won't
Makes
be a
sense.
marriage out of love.
Yeah.
I do think they
we're gonna-
respect each
They're
other.
nobles
though.
in the inner sphere.
Yes.
How often do you actually get that? Let's be real.
I mean, really, when you think about it, isn't respect the first step onto love? And I'm totally not just staring at my girlfriend right now as I say that.
Trying to earn those points.
Hey, man, you gotta earn those points when
Wow.
you can.
That cheese factor. You want some more cheese with that wine, or what?
And you know what the worst part is that I'm pretty sure she has her headphones in, so she can't actually hear me right now.
Hey, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? I mean, Omi and Victor were like right there. Could have happened.
I mean, if you want to go real tinfoil, they have their kid that's still floating around theoretically.
Oh yeah. I
Wait,
forgot
hold
about that.
on.
Oh,
There's
turns out that's Yori, and
Oh,
and she and Julian get married.
Hold on. We still have a third female ruler of the Inner Sphere. Free Worlds League and Davian getting married. Beyond Victor. It's happened before.
Nicole, yeah, I could see that.
On one hand, I want to see it just to see it, make waves in the industry. On the other hand, I don't want to see it because I don't want the Free Worlds League saddled to the Free Worlds League, or Free Worlds League
You
saddled
don't want
to
the Free Worlds League saddled to the Free Worlds League? Fair.
He is a
Fair.
true Free Worlds Leaguer.
Man, fuck the Free Worlds League. They ruined the Free Worlds League. I don't want the Free Worlds League saddled to the Federated Suns because the Capellans are very scary right now. They have like at least 3 mechs in between each of them.
Yeah, but if you had those two joined together, you could make a Capellan sandwich.
It's true.
it's
Maybe I
true.
don't want that
Although
sandwich. It'll give
Capellans
me
are
food
pretty
poisoning.
strong these days.
It's true.
I think we have one more pilot to get to.
We may, in fact, have another pilot. Yes.
Yes. And that pilot is Lieutenant Steve Gossage. Steve Gossage was one of the few survivors of the 12th Donegal Guard on Trell 1 during the clan invasion. His unit fought alongside the heir at the time, Victor Steiner Davian, and Steve is credited with holding the line and allowing Victor to extract when the fighting was lost. He did this while piloting his Marauder, which he had nicknamed Viper. As fate would have it, the lieutenant would be injured and would be evacuated in the same dropship as the Archon Prince, but Steve harbored deep feelings of survivor's guilt and loss for his lancemates, and also blamed Victor for their deaths. As time passed, the two were able to talk during the transit, and Steve learned what type of man Victor was, and his anger and hatred fell away. Soon, Lieutenant Gossage would be a hardened Victor loyalist, going so far as to serve with the Prince again during Operation Bulldog.
So once he found out that Victor boarded unconscious, he was okay with it?
Pretty much. Because I'm pretty sure he got knocked out, right?
Yeah. His I
Yeah.
can't remember if his aide-de-camp or the general who was in charge punched him.
Oh,
sucker
yes.
punched him.
He got
Yeah.
sucker punched. I remember that scene because I was laughing at it because I was like, "Hey, Victor, you just got sucker punched." Classic.
Which was kind of a metaphor for the whole situation on Trowin in the first place, because the clans were sucker punching the Lyran Commonwealth or the Fed
Which is
Commonwealth.
ironic based on the fact that the clans are very anti-sucker punch.
There's layers, is what we're saying.
Knew
So-
something
so-
smelled bad.
So you're telling me that Trellwind wasn't a giant onion in space?
I'm saying that Trellwind is Shrek.
Ah, even better.
It's a nasty smelling swamp.
Trellwind is actually the home planet of the Smash Mouth Mercenary Corporation.
The fighting ogres.
Yeah.
So, for our data dive, we are going to kind of circle back to the beginning of the episode and talk some more with Coach about Wolfnet and what he does there, and how he's kind of
The
him
mascot.
and his crew have coalesced a good community that is a hub for BattleTech fans.
Yeah. So,
How did you get to be the colonel?
This is funny. So, you remember when we were doing the Kickstarter?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And everyone's like, hey, you can create a character if you spend so much money, this and that. And I think we had Blanley Pardo on when the Kickstarter was just announced, and I think he had a new book out. And we were talking about this character thing. And he's like, yeah, we know everybody wants to be a mech warrior, and everyone wants to be in this, and everyone wants to do that. And he says, but you know what? Some people are just janitors, or some people are just TV personalities, or this or that. And he's like, he kind of dropped a hint. He's like, you're probably going to get used in a book much faster if you're not a mech warrior kind of a thing. And so a little background on me. I'm a to go further back, my unit was the Kellhounds, and Andrew was the Wolves Dragoons when we were first playing back when I was like 14. And so we were doing this. We went to a convention, and he was told that he might be put into a Wolves Dragoons book 20 some years ago, a part of Zeta Battalion. And at the time, he played exclusively the Black Widows. And we're sitting in an apartment together, or in the hotel. And he's like, "Hey, man, I don't do this often, but I'll give you the Widows." And I'm like, "Oh, what?"
A generous gift.
To a 15-year-old, I'm like, "No way. I don't know if I'm ready." Like it was a big thing back then.
Hold on. Let's pause and back up a second. You knew Blaine as a 15-year-old?
No. I went back further. So, sorry,
really
I'm jumping all over the place. So, Andrew gave me the Black Widows. Not like it's really his to give, but in our circle, he gave me the Black Widows. He went to Zeta. Fast forward 20 years. Then we meet Blaine, talk to Blaine, this and that. And I had been playing exclusively the Black Widows. And at that time, I played a couple of scenarios with the 7th Commandos, because they're heavily attached to the Black Widows. We started the whole Wolfnet thing and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'll put the mech warrior thing aside. While it would be cool, but you know what? I'm going to be a special operative in Wolfnet. And of course they want, what rank do you want? This and that. So I was like, Colonel. I'll be Colonel of Wolfnet, because in our little, one more thing that Wolfnet Radio Podcast does is we do a regiment. So if you want to be a part of the regiment, it's a giant group of people. It started out as 12, and now I think we're at 157. But we divide.
It is a good time, and full disclosure, every member of this podcast right now is a member of the regiment.
Yeah, maybe
we've all been officers at one point.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I think we are all officers right now.
I get
step
down.
I took over Josh's position. I am the captain now. So literally.
I missed that memo.
So anyway, man, I'm just rambling here. So the regiment is basically our mega mech community, where we try to do regiment-wide missions and all this stuff. The idea is we're all Wolfnet operatives placed all around the inner sphere into certain armies, all nations or all houses. And then every once in a while, it's like, code green or code red, all the Wolfnet guys have to come back and we do a big planetary assault or something like that. It's a lot of fun. That's how Tuesday Night Fights got picked up heavily. If you're not a part of that, you should be. That's another Wolfnet Radio thing that I didn't start, but a lot of the members of Wolfnet started, and it's been awesome.
If we had an Alpha Strike version of Tuesday Night Fight, I'd be there so hard.
Tuesday Night Fight, the first one that was really big was the Industrial Mech Fight, because it was just an absolute show. Because Industrial Mechs, for those of you who are unaware, are exactly 0 out of 10 on durability.
Yeah, they go boom.
Like, you shoot them, there's a decent chance the engine will just explode. And it's an ice engine. It's a car engine, but it's still exploding.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can't move.
There's Mario is kind of the driver of it. If you don't know who Mario is, you should. But he's they come up with strange niche games. Like, what was it? Let's Go Streaking was the last one.
Yeah.
So you could only take mechs with streak missiles. But I love the art that he put. It was like blurred out all the missile pods.
Censored the missile pods. Yeah, like
we're gonna go streaking.
They're like Tuesday Night Fight is theme night basically.
Yeah,
and it's great. And like I would like to chime in here and say that personally for me, having found the community during the early days of the pandemic, it was super helpful for a lot of reasons to have a community to reach out with and touch base, hang out, play some games, because isolation's no fun.
It is not. And that's Brent, you basically just modeled what Wolfnet Radio Podcast is.
Hold on, Brent. Have you met me? My middle name is Isolation.
I thought it was AC20.
Fair enough. That's my first middle name. Second middle name, Isolation.
Artificial cohabitation times 2.
Yes.
To the 0 power. So that's what it is. It's basically a community of people who, like I said, our big thing is don't be a dick. We'll take you any way you are. Just don't be a dick to other people. And it sounds like when the time we started this, there was a lot of animosity in the BattleTech community. It was like, you're either here or you're there, and you can't be a part of either one. You're either Classic or you're Alpha Strike, or you're Jade Falcon or you're Clan Wolf, or you're this or that. And it's just arguments just pop out all the time.
Mm-hmm. Too much factionalization when we have much more that unites us in our love of the universe.
Yeah, and
because we all hate Capellans, right?
Right.
Hey, whoa!
Except
Be
for
nice
those,
to the poor Capellans.
I was gonna say, except for those 30-25 guys, they can take a hike.
All those grognards. But it was just.
But all joking aside, there is something in every era that everybody can appreciate, and we're here for the Stoppy robots. We love this universe, and there's more that brings us together than separates us.
And that's what that was our big goal to do. It was just, hey, here's a big tent. We like to maybe drink and swear and have a good time on our podcast, and we don't censor it at all. And
feeling a little called out.
Some people don't like that. Some people do. I mean, it's if it's not your cup of tea, you're not going to hurt us. I mean, that's fine with us. But
why are you drinking tea anyway?
Yeah, I'm drinking iced tea right now. But yeah, I guess it was something that we wanted to do. We did not at all expect it to be as big as. I mean, we're almost 800 members on our Facebook page alone. Like that's a lot. But you look at like Classic BattleTech International or BattleTech International. I mean, they're banning people for throwing memes out. I'm like, dude, memes are funny. Like, if they offend you, I'm memes. Sorry, but I'm not gonna. I don't know. I just feel like people are getting a little too internalized instead of just having fun sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, humor is subjective, but there's a difference between, good intent and bad intent.
Yeah.
And I think most of the BattleTech community is good, smart people. I mean, we have to do math a whole lot, so of course we're smart.
I don't know.
But,
you don't need to be extremely smart to read the table.
Well, I always classify it as you're either intelligent and smart are not the same thing.
This is very true.
Math people don't always have good social skills.
No, they don't. But
also true. But, at the end of the day, I think most people have a good heart, and, there's a lot of good that everybody can bring. And so,
yeah,
positivity.
And another thing is, and I chalk this up to Andrew mostly. He's been inside the BattleTech community forever, so he knows all the players. And so we started this podcast. We're like, oh, do we ask them if they want to be on? Do an interview kind of a thing. And we tested the waters out, and it turns out that they wanted to be a part of it just as much as anyone else did. And I think we got an inside the foot door of having them speak to the community without, I don't want to say without somebody looking over their shoulder, but it's just nice to hear from individuals within the company without having everyone else jump in at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's nice to hear from someone without it being an AMA where you've got like 3,000 questions being asked at the exact same moment, and there's someone next to you, and there's a bunch of, there's standards that need to be upheld.
Right.
Whereas if you go on the
and
podcast,
that someone sitting next to you is your boss.
Yeah, exactly. You go on the podcast, you can just be like, yeah, whatever, whoop-de-doo. And, you still have a level of professionalism you still need to hit.
Yeah.
But it's a lot lower. You can have a couple beers and chat with the lads instead of being like, I need to drink just water for the next 5 days.
Yeah. we always tell everyone before the show starts, is like, if you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to answer a question. We're not going to press you on it. It's totally fine. In fact, some questions I edit out me even asking the question. If we tread a little too close to something they can't talk about, which is usually like future products and stuff like that. But no, Not very often. I mean, they're very open to like, hey guys, this is how Catalyst works. And I think that's something that we don't, as fans, don't get to see very often. And
I mean, I'm a big fan of transparency
Yeah.
because, like like to derail the conversation ever so slightly, like this podcast exists for several reasons, one of which is because of the WolfNet community, but like my background is in mechanical engineering. The reason I know how to do so much stuff is because I listen to people who are transparent about what they do, and I go like, oh, that's interesting. I'll make note of that. I don't need that right now, but
yeah,
so transparency is a good thing, and there's
Well-
not enough can be said about engaging the community and letting them know what's going on and how it's going on.
yeah, your guys' first episode like blew me away because you had much more of a business, not a business plan, but like a set of goals. Like, hey, this is how we're going to go through our podcast. And you guys explaining like, taking the mechanics of a tank, reloading its armor or something like that, and then combining it with Battletech. It was intoxicating is what it was. It was awesome. So
You flatter us, sir.
It's an awesome niche is what you guys have. Is you deep dive into like, to tell you the truth, we thought about doing this, and I'm like, one, it's like gonna be another recording night. Two, it's gonna require me to do more research, and then all of a sudden I think you guys popped in, you're like, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and I'm like, dude, yes, go for it. Do it. because I think the community needs something like that. It's so much fun. You guys explain to everything in such an awesome way.
So what you're saying is I am crazy enough to take on the task you chose
Yes,
not to.
exactly. Reading TROs can be, I mean, let me put it this way. Listening to someone read a TRO can be very boring. And you guys do not make it boring. So
Okay. Good save.
not everybody wants to deep dive on Sarna about every pilot and every this. But you guys spit the stuff out in a nice, very clean manner in like 45 minutes, which is most people's drive to work. So it's just like,
It
boom,
is a digestible format.
got it. You guys hit on something. I mean, I envy you a lot with your 45 to half an hour a minute podcast. Because ours,
He says while looking at the recording that is just under 2 hours.
oh
Yeah.
well, you guys knew what you were getting into, so
Yes, we
It's-
did.
That's fair. That's fair.
To be fair and honest, it's the Marauder. It was going to be a long podcast
Yeah.
either way.
Oh yeah, like I took some notes from the Crusader because it is a big boy and it has a varied history, not as varied as the Marauder. And I was like, that one ran long. Marauder's going to be big. Okay, this is going to be a 4-parter.
And then we invited Coach as well.
Yeah,
which
then you
just
invited me.
inflates
Yeah,
inflates
oh.
the time by at least 25%.
wow, the next couple will be shorter, I promise.
Famous last words.
Indeed.
But anyway,
I've played with you, Coach. I know how it is.
oh, Chandler. It's always fun seeing you on the board.
Good.
So if you guys have listened to the last WolfNet Radio podcast, I finally remembered what my apology was.
Oh, I haven't. I need to listen to it then.
It
Is
was
an apology to me.
It is apology to basically the community of WolfNet because this summer has been super hectic and I have not been on as active as I should be. But hopefully in like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to turn that around. Once school starts and I don't have kids all the time and this and that, then I'm back on my schedule. So
I'm going to be completely honest with you,
that is
Coach.
fair.
As a person without kids, I completely assume the rest of the world is not able to be on as much because they have kids.
yeah, summer's rough for people with kids.
Yeah, my parents are teachers, so as soon as my parents are like, "We have lots of time," I'm like, "Okay, no one else has time."
My mom was a special teaching assistant when I was going to school, so I'll back that up and second it.
Yeah, as soon as parents have time, no one else does.
My mom homeschooled 7 kids. I have no sympathy.
Oh,
But do you have sympathy for the devil?
they say they're the greatest gift ever given, but I'm still waiting for that gift. No, I love them, but I don't know if a lot of other people do. Anyway, no, like I said, WolfNet Radio, it was a thing we just kind of kicked off. I had a podcast experience in X-Wing, and please, dear God, don't look those up. Those are train wrecks.
For anybody who does want to
Link
look it
in
up,
the description.
it's the OCX podcast.
Oh, well, if you want to watch 2.5 years of live YouTube at 4 hours a pop, go for it.
Yeah, I think that's how actually I found WNRP is you mentioned some of your buddies were going to do a podcast. Or I kept bugging you to do a Battletech podcast. And you're like, hey, some of my buddies are doing one. Go listen to it.
Oh, yeah. We had to beg Andrew to do WolfNet Radio podcast. Beg him on our hands and knees. We're like, we got to do it without you. Nobody wants to listen to me talk. And I'm like, nobody wants to listen to anyone talk, really, unless they're not interested. I was like, believe me, 3 episodes in, we'll find out if anyone wants to listen to us talk.
I mean, I had a somewhat similar experience because I played Canadian Highlander for many years, Magic, woo, that kind of nerd. And I was like, oh, we should do a podcast with me and my buddies. And everyone was like, oh, yeah, that's great in principle, but never had the time or inclination to commit. But, I was able to find these crazy fellows to join me on this journey. So,
yeah, the
Battletech it was.
The podcast side isn't so bad. It's the wrangling an entire community. That seems to be the hard part.
Yeah,
Not
communities
wrong.
are hard to wrangle.
Thankfully, I have 4 other wonderful co-hosts.
Mm-hmm.
So, shout out to Matt Behrens, Tommy Kruger, Charles Gideon, and big boy Andrew Krull.
I knew you couldn't get through that without saying that.
They call him Minnow, but he
gets one per podcast, right? Even though it's not his podcast?
Yeah, pretty much. I think we've been able to do a fat joke every single podcast. I think. I'm not 100% sure. We're like maybe batting 450, but
that is not a bad average.
No, I think it's pretty good. Sometimes we average 2 or 3, so maybe it makes up for it.
Did you have anything else you wanted to mention, or shall we wrap up?
Just wanted to really thank you guys for letting me be a part of the Marauder podcast. I know, Brent, you reached out to me a long time ago. You're like, hey, I thought it was supposed to be episode 69, by the way.
Scope creep is a thing, so...
we don't always get what we want, okay? But
it's the 69th Battlemech. It does not mean it's the 69th episode.
Yeah.
But no, Brent reached out to me a long time ago. He's like, I want you for the Marauder. I was like, I want to be on the Marauder episode. And that was a while ago. That was first when you guys started, wasn't it?
Pretty close. I may or may not be a person who plans and sets up spreadsheets and Google Docs and had the first 150 episodes planned out by about the 25th, maybe.
So I'm just looking at my podcast addict here, and it says your first episode was 11 months ago.
Yes, we are coming pretty close to our 1 year. In fact, this episode will drop about a month after we've hit 1 year because our first episode was at the beginning of August, and episode 80, the Cestus, is our 1 year anniversary.
Wow.
I know it snuck up on me. It's a big thing, but it snuck up on me.
Didn't that go fast?
I know.
We completely missed our first year, and I think we missed our second year.
You just do it, and then you're like, oh, it's been a year? That can't be right.
Isn't that crazy?
Our sources for today are Sarna, Battletech Battlemech Manual, Master Unit List, TRO 3039, Record Sheets 3039, Unabridged, Experimental Tech Succession Wars, Historical Turning Point Gator, Operation Turning Point Franck Reaches, TRO Clan Invasion, Battle of Tukid Supplemental, TRO 3075, Record Sheets 3075, Age of War, Record Sheets 3085, Unabridged, Project Phoenix, Record Sheets 3145, New Tech, New Upgrades, Ill Clan Recognition Guide, Volume 6, Experimental Tech Caveat, and the WolfNet community, we'll say.
Mordel.net, MORDEL.net.
And say it's a historical Galtor, not Gator. There's an L in there.
Oh, Galtor. Oh, my bad. All right. I've been pronouncing that wrong for years.
Yeah, there's a little L that sneaks in there.
Yeah.
Who cares about pronunciations anyway?
I mean, as I've mentioned, like 20 million times is, about 5,000 different languages we've been dealing with. I think we're fine
Word
with,
soup.
mispronouncing it correctly.
Yeah.
This podcast is made possible by our supporters on patreon.com/on the origin of Battlemechs, link in the description. Our social media on Twitter is @Origin of Mechs. We also have a community Discord, the Armory of Ouroboros, link in the description. You can email us at ontheoriginofbattlemechs@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review on your platform of consumption, tell your friends about us, and share on your community platform of choice. Special thanks to my friend Laura for the intro and outro. Our ace pilots are John Keith III and Metal Ed.
Class dismissed. Everybody have a great day.
Peace out, Mech Warriors.
Bye.
Stay safe out there. Yeah, words. Sorry.
Words.
Chandler gets thrown when the script doesn't go exactly the same at the end.
Module complete. System standby. Would you like to load the next module?
And
Ugh.
then, yeah.
That's so easy.
Sorry, I wasn't making that noise about you, Brent. I found alcohol.
I was gonna say,
And it was not good alcohol.
It's
Rubbing alcohol doesn't count, Chandler.
oh, dang it. I guess I'm not going
it's like,
blind.
Chandler, you can't make fun of me for making fun of Craig, and then every time Craig's name gets mentioned, you're like, ugh, ugh, ugh.
No. So my girlfriend's friend was supposed to come over and hang out, and they ended up canceling. But she'd already bought alcohol, and her friend had requested watermelon rosé wine spritzer in a can.
Don't do it, dude.
I've already
don't do it.
started. It's
Oh.
doomed. It's not
Chandler?
the worst thing I've ever drank, but
If you feel the urge to hang Christmas lights in your apartment, seek medical help.
it could be worse.
I don't want to see any live, laugh, love painted on the side of your hunchback.
That would actually be really.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yes.
No fussing, no cussing, no back talking.
Live, laugh, love would be great for the side of the.
That would be
Let's real.
awesome.
But like in the super pretentious, like cursive font and everything.
Oh no, that would make it perfect.
You'd have to get like the Black Knight with the giant shield, so you could really do it upright.
Oh yeah,
You mean the one I have sitting on my desk right now?
Josh, your mission. So you choose to accept it.
Live, laugh, love.